Hey everyone, and welcome back to Practically Zero Waste, a podcast for making zero waste living as practical as possible. Today I sat down with Meera Jain, the green mum from Toronto, Ontario, to talk about her work in raising awareness about needless waste. She offers insight as a parent and as a former wish cycler for anyone looking to make the change and begin living better for the planet. Let's go.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, thank you so much for thinking about me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is great. So you're in Toronto?
Yes, and so you know Jess.
No, I mean, I saw her on Instagram and she was, I think, the second person on the podcast ages
I'm just
ago,
downloading it and subscribing right now, sorry.
Oh, that's fun. So Meera, how would you describe your life? Are you low waste, zero waste?
So definitely striving towards zero waste, but I think that can be an intimidating term for some people who don't really understand it or haven't explored it.
Totally.
So I'm really at the start of this whole journey or project. I'm not zero waste at all.
Yeah.
So we're kind of doing, baby steps towards reducing as much waste as we can. So low waste seems like a good fit for us right now.
The word zero waste, even though it's in the title of the podcast, suggests a very unforgiving lifestyle of if you have even one bit of waste, then it's no longer zero waste. So
Right.
Low waste is such a delightful alternative because it makes people feel like, okay, this is a little bit more realistic. And also, zero waste should still be the goal, even if it's not the reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for people to understand that zero waste is not zero waste.
Mm-hmm.
Is even the person who popularized zero waste, B. Johnson, she still creates waste. It's so little.
Yeah.
It's about how little it is. But she still creates waste.
Yeah, so people can feel better about that, I think.
Absolutely.
So how long have you guys been trying to live zero waste? Was this something that you were doing before you had your family? And
No, I'm brand new.
wow.
Yeah, so we've been doing this since late March, early April of 2018. So about 10 months now.
Congratulations.
It's been really interesting and wonderful.
And how did you decide to become the green mom officially?
I had some friends come over and they were telling me that they were starting this blog and podcast, etc., about being environmentally friendly.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I'm environmentally friendly. I could do something like this and I can kind of put a mom spin on this.
Uh-huh.
Then I learned I'm not environmentally friendly at all.
It's all relative.
Yeah, it is. So this blog became even more of a motivation for me because I said to myself, I can blog about my journey as I go. And that's what I've been doing. And it's been fantastic. And I'm quite proud of all this kind of steps we've taken in our lives to lower our carbon footprint and divert trash from the landfill.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I love that it was a group of other people or friends that were the inspiration for all of this. And you've taken it so far. It's not just one or two changes that you've made. You've made this whole, goal for yourself to go low waste.
Well, it's really interesting because, I definitely recommend starting slowly and continuing slowly. We don't make changes on a daily basis, but there's always more you can do. So, even though I've been at this for about a year, I have so much more to learn and so much more to do. So it's quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. What did the other people who inspired you do to draw awareness to being eco-friendly and everything like that?
So they're really cool. Their kind of Instagram or company handle is Sustainable Jungle.
Okay.
At that point, they were all about eco-travel and spreading the positive message of things that are happening around the world, which is just, it's very inspiring.
It's nice, the idea to spread good news about being eco-friendly and the environment and things that are going well and things that are being positive because there's so much negative garbage.
I don't think I do that enough.
I know.
It takes a little bit of effort because obviously media likes to focus on the negative, but we should be spreading the positive news. There are a lot of wonderful things happening.
Yeah, and celebrating all the eco warriors out there, which I guess is what I try and do on the podcast, is that I'm trying to find people that are not complaining about the world, but are trying to make a difference. So you fall into that category, green mom.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome. What does an average day look like for you guys, making small changes every once in a while towards being eco-friendly?
I really like when people ask me this question because it gives me the opportunity to share to people that when you make a change, it so quickly becomes a habit that you don't even know that your life is different, kind of thing.
That's so nice.
So it's nice to kind of reflect on the changes I've made, but sometimes it's almost difficult because I don't really remember kind of how I used to live my life. But a typical day in terms of what we do eco-friendly, I mean, so in the morning I've got 2 little girls, one's 4 and one's 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a hurry-scurry of just getting them out the door, dressed, hopefully with their bellies full, to school and to their daycare.
Yeah.
And the morning I have off, I am usually a full-time teacher, but this year I've taken myself down to a half-time position.
Yeah.
So in the morning I spend blogging. That's when I will get my post out and hopefully a story or 2 out.
Great.
And then I often have to do some kind of, you could say, green mom type task, whether that's going to the bulk store or washing my daughter's cloth diapers or something.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry. I don't know why I said that. We don't wash them. Sorry.
She just sits in dirty diapers. No, I'm kidding. We'll get to the cloth diapers.
Sorry, collecting dirty diapers.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, decluttering or just, working out or something. So pretty typical kind of stay-at-home mom day.
Yeah.
Then I head off to work where I teach French for half the day.
Wonderful.
Yeah, then I go home and collect my kids. We make dinner. We spend time together. And then my husband and I spend some time together. Really, it's really just a typical day.
That sounds so wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
The idea of a day that's balanced between some home time and errands and personal time and some work time and family time, it just sounds so lovely. So
I know, it really does. I would recommend it for anyone who's lucky enough to be able to do it, for sure.
Absolutely. So when you're going to work, are you able to maintain this greener lifestyle, or is there any challenges when you're out of the house?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, teachers tend to use a lot of paper and create a lot of waste, or at least myself as a teacher before, with crafts and stuff. So I'm definitely very, very cognizant of it. I mean, I'm very lucky at my school that there's a lot of technology. So, I mean, it's kind of the lesser of 2 evils. I'm also not a huge fan of screen time, but I'm able to save a ton of paper that way.
Absolutely.
And then I also follow different accounts on Instagram. I'm thinking one in particular, a girl called Green Teacher Tess. I think she's located in the UK. And so she can give a lot of nice tips for just easy ways to avoid waste. Like if you're doing a craft, just try and consider using mostly paper. Or think about the adhesive that you're using. Make sure that it can go on the recycling or go on the compost. Yeah, just kind of things that just take a little bit of planning. But again, once you make that change, then it's a habit after that.
Yeah, exactly. Once you implement something often enough, then eventually it's just going to become second nature and you'll forget about the old ways of doing things.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then I'm also the leader of the eco team for this year. So that's a really nice addition to my school day where, getting together I think it's about 15 kids, and they're just really cute and impressionable. So I got them on the anti-plastic campaign.
That is awesome. What else does that involve for you?
We're on 3 missions right now. One is to reduce waste at lunchtime because it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So we're starting what's called a boomerang lunch where you have to send all the waste you create home.
Yeah.
We're hoping that, obviously we'd like to transition to something a little bit better than that, but at this point we're hoping that parents will see how much waste is created or how much food is not eaten.
Yes, that's something too.
They'll adapt their lunches accordingly.
Yeah. We've
been doing a lot of work on sorting correctly because my caretaker told me that most of our recycling ends up in the garbage.
Oh, sad.
Because it's so poorly sorted or it's so contaminated. I've seen an apple core in the recycling bin. I've seen a well-meaning person recycle a yogurt bottle, but there was yogurt still in it, so the rest of the recycling was contaminated. So that's been a big campaign for us. And then the other thing that we did, which was lovely, was we started a winter clothing drive. I work at a school that's very, very lucky and fortunate. So they had a ton of stuff, like bags and bags, like my whole car was full. And I dropped it off to a school I used to work with that has a really high immigrant population. So they may not be well equipped for the winter. They may not even be aware of what a Toronto winter is all about. That seems a little bit more humanitarian, but there is a huge eco component to that, right?
Absolutely.
What are you going to do with your clutter after you're done with it?
The amount of textile waste all the stats are about the US, but Canada's immense amount of textile waste too. So much of the garbage that gets sent to landfill is clothing, which is insane. I don't what do you imagine putting a t-shirt in the garbage? Like, that's just such a weird concept to me.
It just feels weird, yeah. So personally, when my daughter's school has these kind of drives, I love it because it's like, oh, okay, I've got a chance to responsibly donate stuff and get stuff out of my house. So
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So that's great. You have so many different ways that you can continue this eco lifestyle in all aspects of your life, including work. It would be harder to maintain this lifestyle if you only did it in one category of your life.
Yeah.
I think.
100% agree. And I don't think that's what it's about, right? It's about you changing as a person.
Yeah.
And therefore, it has to kind of infiltrate all components of your life.
You do cloth diapers currently.
We do, yeah.
Wonderful. Me too. Let's talk all about it.
How are you finding it?
It's good. For those who have never done... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
All honesty is important.
Mm-hmm.
So we are so fortunate that we were able to hire a service to do our diapers.
That is delightful.
No, we're very lucky, and I almost feel like ashamed of how lucky we are, but it was definitely one of my husband's requirements that, you know, if we're going to sit down and do this. So I looked online and we were able to find the company that was most aligned with our values.
Yeah.
And so we definitely are doing cloth diapers, and we're definitely doing them at daycare. So that was kind of something I wasn't able to kind of navigate beforehand. I couldn't find anyone who had done them at daycare or anyone
great.
On the fence about that. It's definitely possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and the format of a cloth diaper nowadays is so straightforward and so akin to the disposable style that...
Yeah, that's true. It's really not that much of a change. Instead of throwing out the diaper, you just chuck the liner somewhere else.
Or you have the whole all-in-one diaper or something, and you just put it in a bag and send it home with the kid. You don't have to wash it. You don't have to do anything if you're just a daycare provider.
And the other thing about cloth diapers that I didn't realize until I ventured into this is that there's so many different kinds. It can almost be overwhelming. And it's so funny, when we got our shipment of diapers, there were just a bunch of cloths. And I was like, I don't understand this. But I happened to be hosting my book club at the same time. And so a couple of the moms there had at least looked into them or tried them before. And so they were showing me what to do. But that's how simple it is. It's just, for us, it's a diaper cover, which looks just like a disposable diaper, with a little cloth that we just fold in thirds and just line the diaper with it. And when that's wet, you just change it.
Yeah, so that's one format. The other format that we use, I guess, are like an all-in-one or an all-in-two. So all-in-one is just literally like a disposable diaper, absorbs everything, and you just wash it normally. But then an all-in-two has a liner that you can insert. But that's all I know about diapers.
I mean, why would you learn more than what you have?
Exactly, yeah. And so for anybody who, like, when you started them, they provided you with the diapers that they use at this diaper service, right?
First of all, they gave us a free week just to try out. Even if you're not going with the service, if you can just try them out for a week, I would recommend that.
Yeah.
And they gave us the cloths, and then we purchased diaper covers, and we purchased a diaper pail to control the odor.
Yes.
But it was a very small investment, especially when you consider it compared to the thousands of dollars that people spend on disposable diapers.
What we ended up doing, we were given 2 different kinds of cloth diapers. Somebody we knew just didn't want them anymore. So that was really lucky. But since then, we've bought everything secondhand, and there is such an immense community of people swapping and trading secondhand cloth diapers, at least in Peterborough where I am. Like, if you just found it on Facebook, but there is such a huge community. One girl came over to my house with a Rubbermaid bin full of them and was like, I only want to buy 3. And she was just like, well, this one's my favorite, or this one worked really well for my second kid. And it just, if you find somebody who's selling cloth diapers, chances are, either didn't want them at all or know what they're talking about, to the point where you could have a whole university lecture on how to use them from them.
And I really admire that you source those materials secondhand. That's fantastic. And I think you raise a great point that not only do you get the materials secondhand, but you get the secondhand information as well.
Yeah, exactly. Buying something on Kijiji or on Facebook Marketplace or something, you get it secondhand, but then you also got all of this. This person who was very excited to tell me about secondhand diapers. She was great.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you ever dispose for your first week of your son's life?
Yeah. He had, I think, 3 or 4 diapers at the hospital before we came home. We came home pretty quickly. And then we used flushable liner in the cloth diapers for the first few days. And I think I only owned 7 newborn-sized diapers, so he went through those pretty quickly. So when he would run out of those, and before they were dry from the laundry, we would use disposables. But then I picked up a few more for very cheap. Since then, a lot of people talk about using a disposable at night.
Listen, cloth diapers are definitely doable at night. I haven't figured out the art to them yet, So
they are absolutely doable. And sometimes when we put him down at 10 o'clock thinking he's going to wake up at 12 and that's when we're going to put him in a disposable, and then he sleeps till 6 in the morning, it's amazing. And you just do a happy dance and you don't worry about having to, you didn't have to do a disposable, so lucky you.
Exactly, but you're also very happy because you just slept for 8 hours.
It's amazing when that happens.
I think it's important for me to strike a balance between both what works for me and what works for my family. And so although it's not the best, I use a compostable disposable at nighttime. I don't try and hide away from that fact, only because, again, I don't want to create this intimidating situation where, everything is plastic free or everything is zero waste kind of thing. So I even though it's probably not the best, I do like to be open about the fact that we use a disposable at night and that I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and honestly, if you didn't get as much sleep as you do, then you would not have the energy to do all the other things as a mom. Important to prioritize your sanity. Especially when you're just transitioning to this. Obviously, there was a time that disposables didn't exist and you had to use cloth diapers, and sometimes a baby would just sit in a wet cloth diaper until morning because you're just too tired. It's all about that balance in the transition period to being totally eco-friendly. A question I had about compostable diapers. Does Toronto offer compost pickup? I think I know this. I think they do, right? In most...
First of all, they offer us compost pickup, but what some people may not know is they offer diaper compost pickup.
Okay, so that's a separate thing?
But in Toronto, I believe we're quite unique in that we can compost our diapers. So
you can put your compostable diaper in your compost and put that out.
You can put your disposable diaper in the pickup, the one with plastic. Then when I did some more research 4 years later, there's a huge chunk of it that's compostable, just like a regular disposable diaper. But the outside is still plastic shell. So then our compromise to that was cloth diapers during the day and compostable diapers with a bamboo shell.
What brand is that you use?
I switch between brands based on availability because for some reason they're not super available. But I like to support well.ca over Amazon whenever possible.
Yeah.
And so I was just looking into the ones that they sell. So the company we use for that is Aliva, and so let me explore that.
Wipes. We're using just cut up fabric or cotton fabric.
Yeah. I just took some of my daughter's old things and just cut them up. But, once you're washing diapers, you might as well be washing a poopy wipe, right?
Exactly. So that's kind of what we're doing at this point. Do you have other low-waste ideas for newborns or for young kids as far as, keeping them clean or keeping them fed and alive goes?
A big one for me I've already said, is secondhand because I should have looked into it for diapers, but everything else in our house for our children is secondhand or a gift because there is so much stuff out there, and anyone who's a mom out there knows that your kids will use things, whether they're toys or clothes or whatever they are, for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and then they're done with them. So that would be we never even did a registry. Yeah. We didn't do that whole baby shower and stuff, and no judgment to anyone who did because it's a really special time to celebrate, but we just felt that we didn't need a whole bunch of brand new things. And so, again, this is before Green Mom time. This is with my daughter, my eldest daughter, but my friends gave me a ton of clothes. Do you guys have in Peterborough Once Upon a Child?
Or it's called Recycled Kids, but yeah.
Oh, the same deal.
Same deal.
Yeah. We those stores are huge, and you can get anything you want. And every day they are sorting through tons and tons of clothes and tons of toys.
Because, oh my goodness, everybody wants to give your child this adorable little outfit that is either seasonal or is only for a special occasion because it's friggin' adorable. But then they're growing out of it so fast that you have to.
And then what do you do with
it
it? And then so that's another part of kind of the low waste journey is what are you going to do with your things? So. Right now we have 3 Rubbermaids full of toys and clothes and stuff for my sister for when and if she should choose to have a baby. But there's plenty of people out there who will pay money for that stuff too. So.
Yeah, oh my gosh, if you have extra of anything or things that you're moving on, or say you did have a baby shower and people gave you really lovely gifts, but they're not something that you want or need or can use, then try selling them first. It's
Yep.
it's so smart. Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, it's so easy to try and sell things. Or even look on Facebook for those
Mommy groups.
Yeah, mama swap and trade, whatever. Like buy
Yeah.
and sell. They exist all over the
Babies
place.
are expensive, man. You need to get some of that investment back.
Absolutely. And whatever, you're gonna be spending so much money on your child anyway, it might as well come to you from reselling things that you already have that you don't need.
You deserve that.
Yes, and you deserve a clutter-free baby room.
Oh, that feels good.
Yeah. Once they switch to solid food.
I mean, for food in general, I have like a whole plethora of ideas. I'm sure you've covered.
Go on,
before.
tell me everything.
Well, so our whole food thing, it's like a trifecta. So we do go to your average chain grocery store when we're tight for time, but ideally you could do this at a farmer's market as well, which is to pick up your produce. So we rarely shop in the center part of the grocery store.
I've heard that.
Where all of our produce comes from either the farmer's market or the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to a bakery of some sort for bread. And then we go to the bulk store for everything else.
That is so fun. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it feels great. It feels really good. And now in the interest of being open and honest, we still buy our dairy and, our milk in plastic and our cheese in plastic.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, this is a whole other topic, but we have a zero waste box from TerraCycle.
Oh, I love that. Tell me about that.
So TerraCycle, for anyone who doesn't know, is a fantastic company run by a person who said, there's all these things that aren't recyclable, but are they really not recyclable? I'm going to find a way to do it. And that person has found several ways to recycle a lot of things that we didn't think were recyclable. So, like granola bar wrappers and food wrappers and such can be
marker cases.
Yeah, they're doing a marker program with Crayola. Actually, that you mentioned Staples. Staples is partnered with TerraCycle for a pen program.
Yeah, they take Sharpies, highlighters.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we bought a kitchen zero waste box for them.
Okay.
Not exactly the cheapest thing, but if you think about how much work they're going to have to put in to sort all the things that they let you put in there,
yeah.
And I used my birthday gift for my first one and my holiday Christmas gift for my second one.
Yeah. How much do they hold approximately?
So you can buy 3 different sizes. We bought this, I think the medium size, which is about, how would I describe it? It's about half a Rubbermaid Tupperware, I'd say.
Okay.
So if you're going to buy it, you have to live a low waste lifestyle. If you just, bought it and lived your regular lifestyle, it would be full in days.
Right.
But if you buy it and just put, the occasional cheese wrapper, oh, my daughter's so hungry, I need to buy her a granola bar right now.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Then it took us 6 months to fill one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you were to go in on it with other people who were also living this low waste lifestyle, I'm just thinking, because we eat a lot of cereal, and buy our milk in the big jugs from Circle K, which used to be Max Milk, and they return you can return the bottle for a refund, and they recycle it or reuse it or whatever.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But the cereal bags, you can't do anything with that. But there's one company called Sally's Cereal. They work with TerraCycle, and you can send their bags. It's just a bag. It doesn't come with a box. Back to TerraCycle to be recycled.
Yeah, and that's free, right? Is that correct?
It's one of those things you have to send it in one of those boxes. So you have to buy the box and fill it, and then you can send it back. So I have this heap of
Sally's cereal
bags that I've been gathering for 2 years now. That we go through one every 2 weeks or something, and still haven't found. Anyway, so eventually that would be something that I'd want to do is maybe split on one with somebody or partner, because I think that's the only product that we're buying right now on a regular basis. That maybe that and toothpaste tubes. I think TerraCycle will accept some toothpaste tubes. They have
a bathroom waste box.
Okay.
Now what you could do is what you need to do is get the kitchen waste box with someone, and don't worry about that at Sally's Cereal. Just shove all your bags in there, and then they'll deal with it on the other end.
Oh, okay.
And for me, I really struggle to give up gum. I'm a teacher, and my face is in several children's faces a day. And the TerraCycle box takes used gum. Yeah, I love that. So I literally saved my gum.
Because gum is plastic, right?
What's that? Yeah, gum is plastic, which is disgusting.
Bizarre.
And I put my gum in my reusable coffee cup when I'm done my coffee.
Yeah.
Then I do my gum. I put my gum in my coffee cup, and then when I get home, I put it in my zero waste box.
That is hilarious. That is so great. Do they not make biodegradable gum?
They do. A company called Chicksa sources
guar gum or whatever, like
guar gum
tree gum.
from a tree.
Mm.
It's okay.
I mean, as an avid gum chewer, I'm sure you have preferences. And
that's right. I'm a bit of a gum snob. Listen, it's only functional. I don't necessarily enjoy the action. I would do it for the taste, absolutely, but it doesn't. The minty flavor doesn't last very long, so it defeats the purpose of me trying to have fresh breath for my students. So you're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
What if you got one of those little spritz or spray bottles or something like that and just did a nice peppermint extract and water sugar blend and just went like...
Yeah,
and just
that's something to think about. I mean, I would be doing it every 30 seconds, but yeah, that's a thought.
Yeah.
I don't have like halitosis or anything.
No, but like teachers that smell like coffee breath, I recall that quite a bit from my youth. Just all the teachers that would...
Teacher.
What's one of the easiest transitions you've had with your family?
I mean, I think they're all really easy.
Oh.
I do. I think that you can't do them all at once, and it takes a bit of a change in mindset. But, me going to the grocery or farmer's market and bringing produce bags is no extra skin off my back.
That's true.
I use the bulk barn pretty much exclusively. And bringing my own jars and getting them weighed, I can see why it would seem like more work, but then I get to choose exactly what I want, the exact amount that I want of it. Like the other day I bought 5 cardamom pods. They didn't even charge me. They're like, that will weigh nothing.
That is amazing. Yeah, like the container you're putting
had like this plastic bag of cardamom pods in the back of my cupboard forever.
Yeah, that's true.
And so alongside with that comes a very simple way of living in a set. And I love showing that to my daughters, and my husband has been incredible and so on board and so patient and supportive. And I just feel so much more peace living my daily life.
That rocks.
Yeah, it's probably been the biggest benefit, actually. And it sounds so selfish, but I am doing it for me. I'm doing it so that I can wake up every day proud of the changes that I've made. And I feel proud of, showing people, when I go to the bulk barn and someone says, oh, you can weigh your own jars. I love that. I love knowing that someone is interested and that by my actions I've shown someone else a more eco-friendly way of living. So,
or when you're at the bulk barn and you see somebody else with cloth bags and you have cloth bags and you kind of make eye contact and you're just like, this is awesome. I love that you're doing this too.
Worse than that, I was at Loblaws and I saw someone for the first time using produce bags. Like reusable produce bags, and I accosted them with a poor little woman and her husband. I was like, I've never seen anyone use them. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like, you're weird, but you're welcome.
Well, it was awesome that Bulk Barn at one point carried their own cloth bags, because while that didn't last, for some reason they were like, not enough people are using them. I was shocked. They put them on 75% off, and I bought all of them.
Oh, nice.
But the first time that I saw those hanging in the store was the same day that I saw somebody bringing their own homemade cloth bags to the bulk barn. And here I was, no car, lugging heaps of jars and containers and trying to use plastic Tupperware containers just to make it lighter. And I was just like, what? You can bring cloth bags? That's going to make everything so much lighter on the bus.
Bulk Barn deserves a huge kudos for that. They've done a lot for that whole... I mean, without Bulk Barn, I don't know where I'd be right now.
Oh, no. We would still be producing heaps and heaps of garbage.
I know a lot of people are against chains, but it's everywhere, right? So I don't have to drive miles and miles. I have one right down the road from my workplace.
Yeah.
So I tag a trip on to going to work or coming back from work.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's not even extra driving. It's just the driving I would have been doing anyways. And
yeah. And if you have a locally owned bulk store, oh my goodness, totally support them over Bulk Barn if you can, because I want to encourage that so much, and Bulk Barn's doing just fine without one person's business.
But without your jars, they'll be fine.
But if you can support a small business, totally do it.
Agreed.
But Bulk Barn has everything.
I know.
Bulk Barn has...
Listen, you don't have to do all your shopping at Bulk Barn. You can support your local bulk place, especially if you can walk to it or a short drive away. Definitely do that. But then go to Bulk Barn for the other stuff, like Hot Lips or chocolate covered almonds.
Or all of the candy, all kinds of different teas and coffees, and then peanut butter, nut butter. They sell lard and coconut oil in bulk.
Coconut oil in bulk has been a life changer. We don't have lard at ours, I don't think.
Oh, but yeah. So all of them have slightly different things that they carry, and they're always switching it out. And yeah, anyway, I someday will have Bulk Barn on my podcast. Or maybe they'll sponsor me. They're my favorite store.
I just want to talk to them and just
So you and I will interview Bulk Barn together and just be like, how can we become your representatives because we love you so much? Some people might find it challenging to do multiple different stops with kids. How do you find that?
I would never recommend doing multiple stops with your children. I don't do multiple stops myself, to be honest.
Okay.
I like to do a little bit each day. So one way that we combat food waste is we meal plan. We usually do 4 dinners a week. I write down the grocery list and I categorize it by where I'm going to get each thing. And then I choose a recipe at the beginning of the week where mostly I'd only need stuff from one place.
Oh, okay.
And listen, you don't really, if you shop correctly at Bulk Barn or at a bulk store, you don't necessarily need to go there every week, right? Because you can buy large amounts of things.
Yeah.
I would probably choose something where I already have the staples in my pantry and I just need to go to the farmer's market or the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And then throughout the week, I get each errand done. And that was advice I gave to one of my friends who is working full time and she has a little girl and she said, it's a lot. And I said to her, you don't have to do it all in one go. You can do a little trip on your way to the subway, a little trip with 3 jars or something.
Yeah.
And that's totally doable and not necessarily like a big chunk of time in your life.
Mm-hmm. If you don't have access to a vehicle, then doing it in small trips is so smart. Or according to what recipe or whatever. Yeah.
Totally doable.
Or just
especially if you're buying in bulk and you can get the amount that you want.
Exactly. What would you say is the most challenging part since transitioning to a low waste?
That is a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Probably what I like the least is figuring out how to finish and properly dispose of the stuff I already have.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been doing a major declutter of our house. And there's a bunch of stuff I'd love to get rid of, but I almost don't want to do it because I don't know how. I'm thinking in particular my bathroom right now. I have a bunch of makeup in there, and I know a plug for Occitan, they paired with TerraCycle to create one of their own zero waste box where you can put empty beauty products in.
Okay.
But like, how am I going to empty out my makeup? I don't wear it, so...
Who do you know that wears makeup that you could just offer it to them? Not, gift it to them because then they feel obligated to keep it. But if they are interested, offer it.
I don't know. Maybe I could ask my sister. I mean, the other thing is, like, it's kind of old.
I don't know. And you can't even really wash out a mascara tube with ease.
No,
That's such a mess, especially if...
I wonder if they would just take the containers and figure out how to do it. They must have a system.
That sounds like wish cycling.
That's rude.
Which I do want to ask you more about. Yeah, I do want to talk more about that in a second. Anything else for things that are hard to get rid of? I find sometimes I have random things given to me or random knickknacks, and I don't want to burden a thrift store with it, and I also don't want to burden the landfill
too, right? You're donating something, but are you really sure it's going to be donated? It's like wish donating instead of wish cycling.
They are just so inundated with so much junk.
I know, because it is what everyone, I mean, good-hearted people, kind people who care
are donating,
are doing that. But you're right. And that's why it's good when I go through what I want to donate. My husband always sits with me and he's like, no one's going to want that. No one's going to use that. And then probably either puts it in the garbage or whatever it needs to be done with it. But
hides it away from your sad little heart of...
No, someone needs a necklace that has 2 beads missing, I swear.
So what is wish cycling, Meera, and why is it harmful?
So wish cycling is a cute little pun on recycling. And I was an avid participant in it before.
Me too.
Where good-meaning people who don't necessarily know or necessarily understand the recycling rules of their city will put things in the recycling with the hopes that they will get recycled. Which sounds harmless enough, but unfortunately it does have some pretty bad... repercussions. So I mentioned before that if your recycling gets contaminated with food, all of it goes to waste. Yeah. So, you throw in a coffee cup into your recycling, but there's, let's say, 30 mils of coffee still in there, then all that paper and all that stuff that it has touched can no longer be recycled. And so you end up doing worse for the planet in that what could have been recycled now ends up getting trashed.
Oh.
So that's one problem. Another problem is that it actually costs a lot more money, time, and even has known to cause workplace injuries because people have to stop the recycling belt. It gets sorted by this little camera sensor, and they have to stop it, and they have to pull out sometimes even manually the things that can't be recycled. A lot of Toronto people are very guilty of recycling textiles, which I find interesting because in our city they're not recyclable in the least. Like, no one has ever said put your clothes in the recycling. They get caught in the sorting mechanism and people have to pull them out, and people have been hurt that way. It sounds very counterintuitive to being eco-friendly, but if you're not sure, throw it in the garbage. Like, until you kind of take the time to inform yourself.
Yeah. And what hurts too is that even if your recycling bin that you put out is pristine cardboard, pristine tin, and pristine glass, if somebody else throws in a half-used can of spaghetti sauce and doesn't wash that, everything's ruined and all of your efforts go to waste.
I know.
So,
and those are the kinds of things I try not to think about.
So just don't think about those things. Try and do your best recycling job that you can anyway. Yeah.
And if I could take the opportunity right now just to let people know the 4 most commonly misrecycled things in the city, that would be amazing. Go for it. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably are not guilty of this, but I'll put it out there anyways. The first one is coffee cups. So a lot of people think they're recyclable, but they're actually lined with plastic, so they need to go in the garbage. Yeah, anything that kind of has that waxy inside, that's actually plastic. So that's a great point to think about. Recyclables that are contaminated food, so the importance of rinsing them out and cleaning them to the best of your ability cannot be understated. The third one is black plastic. I'm not sure about in Peterborough, but in Toronto, the sorter sensor cannot distinguish between black plastic and the conveyor belt it's on. Yeah, so just put it in the garbage. The last thing is textiles, as I mentioned before. So yeah, clothes cannot be recycled through the city, but there are some really interesting, wonderful companies out there trying to recycle textiles. So just looking into that would be worth it for sure.
What about items that have mixed materials on them?
Yep, that's a big no-no as well, because unfortunately we don't have the money or resources to sit there and separate them, which is one reason that some of the kind of eco-friendly products do exist. For example, a razor, the average razor has a little bit of rubber in it, it's got plastic in it, it's got metal in it, and for someone to sit there and take the time to remove all that just isn't financially viable. So that's why we're bringing back the safety razor, which is just an all-metal razor with a blade.
And what about condiment bottles and things that are glass and plastic or cardboard and have tape on them? Like, all of these things, do we have to...
Yeah, you got to be mindful of that. Doesn't mean you can't use these things. It means, can you find the eco-friendly alternative? For example, there are plenty of paper tapes out there that can be sourced and used. Sometimes when we're in a fix and I can't get to the bulk store, I buy pasta in a box. That has this little plastic window in it. Before I recycle the box, I just rip that off.
I think another thing that isn't clear with recycling, not just in Toronto, is what types of plastic, other than black plastic, can be recycled, and things like that little itty bit of plastic window, or different types of bags. So you have a soft, stretchy material, or you have a crinkly bag, like a cereal bag. What kinds of things like that can be recycled? That's something that, you have to just look up in your local area to see. But more and more municipalities are posting online what you are allowed to put in your recycling and what you cannot. And
it's key, because I did a whole series of posts on that on my Instagram, and a good piece of advice is always, before you put something in your grocery cart or in your shopping bag, think about what's going to happen to it at the end of its life before you even start with it.
Mindfulness to a whole new level. That's great.
Mindful shopping.
Holy.
Toronto is fantastic. I really feel privileged to live in the city. They have a new Toronto Waste app, which is really easy. So all you have to do is just type it in, what the thing you're trying to dispose of, and it'll tell you what to do with it. So the other day, we changed our light bulbs, and so my husband said, okay, well, where do these go? And I would have said the recycling in that. I know it's different materials, but it's mainly glass, so that's what I would have guessed. And I typed it in, and it turns out they go in the garbage, even the LED ones.
Okay.
So that's where we put them. And then I feel great, although I hate sending things to the landfill, but I feel good knowing that I've done right by my city and that I haven't contaminated someone else's recycling.
Yeah, there you go. Low waste arts and crafts. So you talked a little bit about that with your... my baby's crying in the background, so I just lost focus. You talked a little bit about, as a teacher, how you've worked hard to reduce waste. But you've had some creative ideas, one being some alternatives for plastic beads. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all.
Yeah, that was one I was quite proud of, actually, because the way that I kind of came to the idea was that I was trying to buy something eco-friendly for my daughter's friend, whose birthday it was. And then I settled on wood beads. And I was looking online, okay, where can I get these wood beads? I couldn't find them at the toy store I was at. And I said to myself, why can't I just make these? And then I looked online, and, the beautiful internet always has something out there for you. And there were tons of websites and blogs showing how to make beads out of pasta.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was really easy. It was really rewarding. I felt really proud of it. And then when my daughter saw the finished product before we gave it to her friend, she said, Mommy, I want some of those for Christmas, which was just so cool.
Yeah.
So I gave her a set for Christmas, and we've been beading all holiday long.
That is awesome.
But yeah, it could be a completely compostable craft. And I mean, the way I made it, besides the acrylic thread, it is all compostable. So
isn't that fun?
I went to Bulk Barn and found the pasta that I thought would be most amenable to beading. They were these kind of skinny, long penne. And yeah, I just put it in a bowl, put some food coloring in, and a teaspoon of vinegar to help the food coloring spread. And then I spread them out on a plate to let them dry. And that's all it took.
And coming up with any sort of DIYs like that for kids is really awesome, because in a way they could be part of the process. And
my daughter was when we made hers. She really had fun.
Who are some zero waste people that you've been following lately who you'd love to tell other people about?
Yeah, so I told you guys about Sustainable Jungle. Another set of friends in that same circle, they're at Reusable Nation, and they have amazing tips and just cool pictures to look at, and I don't know, they're fantastic. So definitely check them out. I love supporting local bloggers. Like there's Sophie from Your Eco Waste, there's Dana from Bear Market. She's starting the first kind of totally zero waste market in Toronto, so that's a huge thing.
I've heard of Bear Market. I thought you meant like a grizzly bear, but no, you mean like bear.
No, like B-A-R-E.
Yeah.
Yeah, just if you're in market for bears.
Yeah.
Zero Waste Nerd, Trashes for Tossers. There's so many people out there who are doing just amazing work. And then there's a girl called, it's either Tara or Tara, I've never met her, but she's from Guelph. And she started what's called the Zero Waste Collective, and she has her own blog called Mindfully Sustainable. So if you're kind of looking for a local... Oh, and one more person I want to mention is Exploring Alternatives. They are a couple that live in a van, and they kind of travel the country sharing. They're into both zero waste and tiny living, which is another eco-friendly way to live. Yeah. Like people living in small houses, or they actually did a small segment on me on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Which was so much fun. They're like the nicest people ever. So check that out if you want. But in general, check out their YouTube account, because they really shine some light on some fascinating ways of living.
Sure, that's great. And where can people find you online?
So I'm mainly an Instagram gal. That's how I got this whole thing started. So I'm at The Green Mum, and mum being spelled the British way, M-U-M.
Yeah.
And I recently launched a website just kind of to support the work I'm doing on Instagram.
Great.
And that's thegreenmum.net. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I'll put all the information for all of these different people that you've recommended and all the different links from our conversation in the description.
Thank you so much. And it was just so lovely chatting with you. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share.
Absolutely. Thanks for wanting to chat and for making it so easy to connect, because I don't know, we both have kids, so it's so nice to be able to find this little pocket of time to be able to talk.
Yeah, I just ignored mine for the past hour and a half. No worries.
Me too. Husbands are great. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Meera.
Bye.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. If you'd like to hear more from Meera, her blog is thegreenmum.net, or you can find her on social media at The Green Mum. Mum is spelled M-U-M. Good luck this week as we try not only to reduce our trash, but reduce recycling as well. I'd love it if you would rate and review this podcast so that more people can hear about it and help others to reduce their waste too. Talk to you soon.